Hey, remember me? It's Greg from Baseball and Whatever. How are you doing? Hey, that's great. We should do that sometime. Before we get this episode started, let me tell you about Belly Up Sports. Why, it's only the finest source to get your news on the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, fantasy sports, and more. Whether it's through forums or articles, or their extraordinary podcast network, Belly Up Sports has you covered. They are the Internet's sports bar. Visit bellyupsports.com and follow them on all social media platforms. I hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you soon.
Hey everybody, Justin here, Vinny here. We are recording a secret podcast without Greg right now. We are going to honor our good pal and what would you call him, Vinny? Our lead graphic designer for our thumbnails and such for the podcast.
Right.
Sounds about right. So we are going to honor him the best way we can because Friday is his birthday. So we'll have to talk if we'll either put this up on Thursday morning as a surprise. I don't know, or just put up Friday, whatever. We can do that later. But he is turning 33 to be 30. And what better way than to talk about him and maybe embarrass him? I don't think you can embarrass Greg. I don't know.
His stories aren't like yours, but
no, mine are just a bit weird, and his are more just straightforward, I think. Right? Like
yours were weird. Yours were funny.
Oh yeah, funny.
You calling me up because you were concerned that I was going to be afraid that we were driving through the south side of Chicago.
You didn't grow up near the city, so I was just concerned for your safety. You know.
Exactly. They're funny.
Yeah. That was my brain working overtime for so many years. Anyway, we're here. We're going to share some stories about Greg. Maybe when we met him for the first time, things we've observed. Vinny reached out to his family. So we got stories from my mother-in-law, Vinny's mom, Lynn. We got stories from Vinny's sister and Greg's wife, Ashley. We got stories from my wife, Erica. And then we also talked to Vinny's dad and mine and Greg's father-in-law, Vince, Pretzel Vince, who made his glorious debut on episode 40 of the podcast. So if you write in enough, we might just have you guest on the podcast. So Pretzel Vince made his triumphant, what would you call that? Triumphant beginning, I guess, so to speak.
Triumphant? Was it really?
I got to say, everybody I've talked to loved the buzzer sounds when your dad said stuff that you thought was incorrect. Everyone I've talked to, they loved it.
What it was is we had talked about it, like we had mentioned it. It wasn't the first thing I asked him. It was at the end. I was hoping you'd get it right.
Well, hey, you know, I can't even. I don't even know what to say.
Already, I had like a correct ding set up for him too.
Oh, I never heard the ding.
Well, he didn't get anything right.
Well, maybe there'll be another opportunity in the future for good old Pretzel Vince, but. Let's start us off, Vinny. I don't know. You want to tell us what stories do you have about Greg, or when you met him, or what do you got about Greg that we can discuss here for the birthday boy?
Yeah, this one's I guess this kind of just shows how great Greg is. The first time I met Greg, he was actually helping me move into an apartment with it was my now wife. We were dating at the time, but we were moving in an apartment together, and that was the first time I met Greg. As he came up with Ashley and helped me move in. I didn't have any, thick marble tables that he had to help me move in. It was just a bunch of, cheap furniture and stuff from college. But yeah, that was the first time I met him. I had, I just knew that, my sister was with Greg. And so it was, kind of like, oh, okay, I'm going to finally meet this guy. And, he was great, didn't complain at all. He also, it was hot out. And he at one point he was carrying up a chair, and my sister was sitting in the chair, and he was carrying it up 2 flights of stairs without complaining. Yeah, yeah, Justin, I see your face. You realize that that's something Ashley would do, but she's sitting in the chair.
That does check out, yeah.
Yep. Complaining about how hot it is while Greg's carrying up the chair with her in it, and he's sweating, but not complaining at all, and just doing it just gladly. And I was like, man, this guy is something special.
Now that you mention it, in the how long has he been around now? Like they've been married for I'm trying to think. They got married the year we moved out to Manhattan. That was 2016. So they've been married for 5 years, 6 years now. Does that sound right?
Six or
seven. So we've known him probably for about 7 or 8 years now. And in that time, I don't think I've ever heard him complain ever about anything. Like besides the White Sox and baseball and sports.
White Sox and Yankee fans.
Bears, Yankee fans, Twitter disputes he's had with people, which he's getting really good at, by the way, I gotta say. I check our podcast Twitter and I'm like, oh, I see a bunch of notifications. I'm like, oh, Greg riled somebody up. Or because it's usually not me. I don't usually go on there that much besides to like tweets and stuff. But yeah, he's just such a nice guy. I mean, I don't know if I still feel horrible because I want to say the year I got married. So I got married in 2013. I think I had only met him a few times before that. And now looking back, I feel so bad because like if I would have known him the way I know him now, he would have been in my wedding party for sure. You know what I mean? Like I still remember you granting absolution in that confessional that all the groomsmen were in at my wedding. That was still a memory that I will never forget. But
that's right. I remember that.
Of course, it's burned into my brain. It was the last time I went to confession. So a couple things. The one thing in particular, I have a bunch of Greg stories, but the one in particular, I remember the first time I went, the first time I met him, it was for someone's wedding. Was it Anna? Was it Anna. One of the? Yeah, it was Anna Deutsch's wedding. So it was for his wedding, for their wedding, and Ashley was bringing out Greg, and I was really excited to meet him. You know, I was curious. I wanted to know, I heard he was a decent dude. And I remember meeting him and I'm like, I was talking to him. And at some point he brought out his little portable PlayStation Vita. And I'm like, oh, this guy likes video games. Okay. I can let the nerdy part of Justin's personality come out now. And we totally nerded it up. We talked about PlayStation and video games and Nintendo 64. And right there, I was like, oh, this guy. Okay. We can make this work. This guy's a decent guy. I can handle this. So that's I think that was the first time I met him, and he just he's been a good guy ever since. I really couldn't say a bad thing about him, but
yep. I was going to say that you wanted to let out the nerd side of Justin. Is there another side of Justin I'm unaware of?
No, but see, I like to think I keep it hidden until I know somebody well enough, and then it all just comes out. But this is going back to like me reading the Star Wars books within my on the quad at St. Xavier,
All right.
The one of the other things that I know your sister still gives me crap about for her birthday one year, we went to a casino. It had to be somewhere on the north side of Chicago, northwest suburbs. I don't know what casino that would have been.
Really nice one, I remember.
It was really nice, yeah. And I had never been to a casino before ever, so I was really excited because to me it felt like Dave and Buster's, but for adults. Or I don't know. I guess Dave & Buster's is for adults.
It's for adults.
It is for adults, but like a more adult. Is that a thing? But
Dave & Buster's.
Yes. So like I was like, all right, I'm gonna let myself spend $60 and that's it. And I burned through that really quick. It didn't last long at all. But Greg, there was this one slot machine called I think it was called the Green Machine, and it was like a high roller slot machine. So you would have to bet like $50, $75, $100 a spin. And Greg just kept doing it, or maybe it was 25. I could be misremembering the story, but I remember he kept doing it. And at one point he was up to like $400 or $500 and he's like, should I keep going? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never gambled before. I don't know how this works, but somehow he ended up losing it all. He lost like $500, but somehow that story turned into Ashley says it's my fault because I encouraged him. I'm like, do you really think I would encourage someone to gamble? I mean, that doesn't sound like my personality, but I
totally picture you as like, Darth Sidious standing behind. Do it.
The little devil. Yeah, do it. Yeah. The little devil. Come on, Greg. This is all extra money. It's house money. Yeah. You keep going. But yeah, he lost it all. But yeah. I also remember helping Greg and Ashley move out of their apartment together. I think that would have been when they moved into their house. Well, it had to be when they moved into their house. And I remember they were on like the second floor, maybe third floor. I don't remember which. And they had a couch that there was no way we were going to get it downstairs. And so we literally like just took it and chucked it off the balcony and it just went flying. And I think maybe we hooked up like a rope and pulley system. I don't remember, but like, wow. And he got it done. He was on a mission. So I don't know.
Greg would have probably hooked up a rope and pulley system. You and I would have just tossed it.
Oh yeah. I would have said, you know what? Just leave it. We'll buy a new couch. Even if we didn't have the money.
tried to like lower it down gently, and it would have broken. It would have fallen and broken. No,
the rope would have frayed and somehow would have fallen. It would have hit someone on the way down. I don't know, but I don't know. You got any other Greg stories, Vinny?
Outside of Greg always letting me borrow his Xbox 360 game since I don't have one. He also let me at one point, my Xbox 360 took a dump on me, and he actually let me borrow his for an extended period of time without actually having to pay him or rent it from him.
Nice.
From Greg Stop. So, it was quite nice of him to let me do that, and he never asked for it back. I just ended up giving it back, and then he ended up finding me. Someone was selling one cheap, and he ended up finding more. I don't even know if he got it for free because someone was giving it up, and he snagged one for me. He was thinking about me, so he's always thinking about other people. He is.
He actually sent me a payment via Zelle for he bought. I sold something to Greg Stop today. I sold him the new Call of Duty for a couple bucks. So he's nice. He's adding to his backlog. He's got to keep his content going. So we'll see if he ever gets to play that. I don't know. The one other thing, the other story I have about Greg is I remember this would have been maybe like 2018, 2019, a few years ago. We had a really bad flood out here. And thankfully your mom and dad were at their house, and they live about an hour from us, north of us. And so the flood, it was getting really bad. Our basement was flooding. And your mom and dad came out, and thankfully your dad helped me kind of keep things at bay. And we were on the roof trying to unclog gutters, and it was just chaos. And we were trying to find sandbags. We went to like 3 different stores. Nobody had sandbags. So we ended up buying like bags of dirt. Like we were literally scrambling. We couldn't find anything. And I remember calling Greg, and we were figuring out what we were going to do with the carpet because he knows how to do all that kind of stuff. And he's like, well, he goes, just sit tight. I'll come right now. I got some tools. I'm going to grab some tools and I'll be on my way. And I'm like, Greg, it's like 10:30 at night. There's floodwaters everywhere. Like me and your dad almost like we were really being careful because it was really bad out here. I'm like, no, you're not going to leave your house at 10:30 and drive through a flood and then try and get here. Like there's nothing you can do. And, thankfully we talked him out of coming. And then the next morning we went out there and got some of his tools and we took care of it. But just like, he's ready to go. Like if you need him and he knows you need him, he'll be there, come hell or high water. It's crazy. He's a good guy. So
I wonder what he would have taken to get there, because he didn't have the truck at that time. So.
No, he would have had to take in his Mustang, I guess, through the floodwaters. I don't know.
Put a sail on it and just hope that he can get
I like to imagine him building like a quick like Noah's Ark boat around, like the horse boat from The Office, but around the Mustang. He just coasts right through.
Just powers right through it.
Yeah. And then even then, like in between that, and I just remember like when we were talking about, hey, we should do a podcast, and he's like, yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see if we can figure this out before we bother Vinny, because you're more busy than us. Obviously, you got a lot going on, and he's like, yeah, let's just do it. And he was so amped up from the get-go. Like, I feel like he's just someone who you give him an idea and he totally will run with it. Like there's no, he's going to support you no matter what. He's a good dude. So,
yep.
Should we get to some of the other people that wrote in, your family members, I guess?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sure. I'll start off with my mom. She wrote, when I watch Greg play with the girls and hold them up high or swing them into the sofa, all I hear are squeals and giggles. I cringe, but they love it. He used to put a blanket over his head and be a monster and chase the girls. Anytime he plays with them, it's a special time. Greg always laughs and says, "Oh, Grandma doesn't like that." Haha. I love the stories Greg tells of people he has to call streaming services, cell phone providers, anyone he feels has done them wrong. And I can attest to that.
Yes.
What was it? It was the day or the night after we saw The Last Jedi. So you already know the kind of mood he was in.
Oh yeah.
We got back to their house, and Gretchen was with Ashley, and Gretchen had ordered a pizza before we had even gotten back from the movies, and it still hadn't come. It was like an hour later, and it still hadn't come. So we had called, and they must have forgotten to make her pizza and everything. And when the delivery guy showed up, oh boy, did Greg have some choice words for him. He ripped into the guy. I felt bad for the guy, but at the same time, Greg's just like, this is unacceptable. You should tell your manager. And I would not have had the same words as Greg had, but yeah, Greg, if someone does something wrong to you or someone he cares about, he's gonna let you know. Again, that's just the type of guy he is. Let's see, what else did my mom write? She says, Greg has such a deep and powerful voice. Yes, he does. And he doesn't want anyone to mess with him or his family. He is a great cook. Yes, he
is.
When we, what was it, not last year, but 2 years ago when we were out at the lake house, he was cooking up that.
The chorizo and stuff.
Chorizo tacos.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Yeah.
His Mexican dinners and many cuts of meats with rubs he puts on them are phenomenal. Yes, they are. And oddly enough, he's not Mexican.
No.
He gets confused for that a lot. And my mother-in-law actually, it was I think it was Mother's Day.
Yeah, I think it was.
My family invited my in-laws out to their house and having a cookout. And my mother-in-law, bless her heart, was trying to be kind and
she was.
Asked Greg, "Hey, how was your Cinco de Mayo?" Thinking Greg was Mexican, and it's not the first time Greg's been confused.
No.
It probably won't be this time. And he took it. I wasn't there.
It was me. I caught it, and I just remember. And yeah, bless your mother-in-law. She's such a nice lady and so kind. And you could tell she was trying to make conversation and be really sweet. And I remember her saying that about, what'd you do for Cinco de Mayo, Greg? And I just remember I had to kind of look away because I knew if I made contact with him, it wasn't going to be good, because I already had a smirk on, that dumb look on my face.
Yeah.
But that one lives in infamy. I think that we bring that up all the time. It's so good. Yeah. He's an excellent. Oh, see, now I have a taste for chorizo. Hearing that, reminding me of when we were at the lake house up in Wisconsin. I'll get to your sister. Your sister gave us a bunch, so I'll take this first one. She said, that reminds me. First of all, they had their wedding in Mexico, and I remember we had the stylish. We had the tuxes on the beach and all that. That was a lot of fun. It was hot. It was really hot. It was
good thing it was a rental.
Yes, yes, because you weren't going to get some of those sweat stains out of those tuxes.
No,
not a chance. But she said, when they went to their wedding in Mexico, a couple days after the wedding, they went on some excursions. One was a sea turtle expedition where they could swim with sea turtles. She said, "I'm not a strong swimmer at all, and I hate salt water." I can also agree with that, Ashley. So the mix was also already a bad idea. They started to swim out in the ocean with the group, and she somehow managed to suck in a huge gulp of water in her tube and started choking. She felt like she was going to throw up, so she starts calling and yelling for Greg's help, just to see him swimming further and further away while he was looking at the turtles. Thankfully, she keeps calling, think he's going to eventually turn around, but that was not the case. The instructor eventually saw her and threw her a life ring when Greg finally noticed. So she said that was the start of his inability to observe life around him. But I'm kind of shocked. I could see him being like the rescue type there. I'm surprised.
No, I can see him. I can see him being all into I'd be into the turtles, but I can just picture him like looking up and like turning around and be like, "What are you doing back there?"
Like sea turtles or wife. I'm gonna go check out the sea turtles. I don't.
He had it right.
Yeah, he had the right call. You want to do the next one? She said.
Sure. Yeah. Greg. So Greg's got asthma, and then he gets irritated at random times. Sometime I had no idea.
I had never seen that before. Yeah. No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So him being the smart man that he is, the day after our wedding, his allergies were bothering him. So he took his rescue inhaler. Mind you that when you take this, you're not supposed to drink alcohol. And he is fully aware of that, as he has experienced it in the past, what happens when he does that. I had no idea he had taken his inhaler that morning. So, of course, the day after our wedding, we were drinking excessively all day with our wedding party. Then we finally went to dinner and sat down together for our first dinner together as a married couple. All of a sudden, Greg suddenly gets up and says he doesn't feel good and said he would come right back. So about half an hour later, and after I finished eating, he's still not back, and I start to get worried. I leave the restaurant and start to head back to our room. On the way, I see streaks of puke in random places along the path. Once I get back to the room, I see a big pile of puke right outside our door and now realize that the puke along the way was Greg's. So I walk in and he's passed out in the room with puke on the floor next to him. I start to freak out, not knowing what's wrong, and knowing we're in Mexico sent more alarms to me. Then I call my best friend, who's a nurse, to come down to check on him, and she ends up slipping in his puke outside the door. Needless to say, the night was a hot mess, and Greg eventually realized the following day that he was so sick because he took his inhaler.
I must have blocked this out. I don't remember this at all. Do you remember this?
No, I don't. We didn't stay. I think we left the day after.
Did we leave the day after the wedding? Okay, because we went down there early, right? Was that what it was?
Yep. Yeah, we went down there a couple days early.
Because I was gonna say, I don't. I mean, that sounds like something that would be pretty big to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nearly as bad as what my dad went through in Mexico.
No, that's true. I remember
his story topped Greg's because he actually went to the
hospital. Yeah. Oh God, I remember getting updates through on the phone on the plane. I think with your dad, right, when he was not feeling good down there.
Yeah,
when we landed and stuff, or was it after? I don't remember.
No, I don't know. Do you really remember the plane ride?
No, I do.
Which planes?
I do remember the plane ride. See, now it's funny. Now I'd be like, oh yeah, let's take the shorter trip, But back then, oh God, I would freak out about. Oh, I don't. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, Justin.
Hey, you were doing the right thing. A normal person would have said, yeah, let's do it. A crazy person like myself is the one that had a problem with it. All right, let's see. I'll take the next two. They're really short. Ashley says, I know everyone that listens to the podcast knows that Greg can be a hothead, to put it mildly. Ashley, I don't see that either. He's a boomer, but not a hothead. And she says he doesn't care who he offends. It's always interesting to me to hear him berate people on the phone for cable, internet, food deliveries, you name it, who have upset him, and for him to think that people will accept that and want to help him when he flies off the handle. Not surprisingly, very seldom do people want to help him, but he still does it because it makes him feel good. I know you were kind of talking about that earlier with Gretchen's Pizza. And then she also said back when they were dating, she ran out of gas while driving on I-90. Trying to get to her class downtown in Chicago. She called Greg from work, and within 20 minutes, he was there with the gas can, filling up the tank and not giving her a hard time about it. And that's when she knew he was the one for her. So that is a sweet story. Very sweet
I had to do that with my wife, too.
Really?
When we were dating in college. Yeah, she called me up. She was going to work, and she ran out of gas. And granted, her father is a auto mechanic, so she knows better than to let the car run out of gas. But yes, she did that as well, and I did go and fill up her tank. I've berated her about it since, because she still likes to drive when it's to E. Does Erica like to do that too?
Not that I know of. I try to stay out of her car though, because it's usually a mess. So I've never had to fill her. I've sometimes have filled her tank up the night before, but I've never had to go with the gas can and do it. I don't think she would call me, to be honest. I think she'd be too proud, because I mean, your sister's kind of stubborn, right? Like just a tad.
Yeah, just a tad.
We were just talking about if Maddie and her are like the same. When Maddie gets to be about 13, 14, it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be rough for you, Justin.
I'm just going to sit back and like make eating popcorn, gif. That's all it's going to be for me. I'm just going to stay out of the way and make sure nobody sees me. Let's see here. Do you want to take the next one from your sister? Your sister is really putting out the content. This is awesome.
He really is. Yeah, sure. She said, Greg is an amazing father, and as much as he loves the kids, he gets frustrated with them just as easy. Don't we all? He wrestles with the girls and throw them around, which they absolutely love. Roughhousing. Our youngest daughter always says that he smells like poopy when she wants she wants me to help her and not Greg. Our oldest is more tolerable of him and always wants him to be her prince so she can marry him, or be Bowser from Mario and she's Princess Peach so she can marry him. I don't think Peach ever marries Bowser. What is Greg keeping those kids there?
There's a first time for everything, but apparently some video game history needs to be taught in that household out there. I don't know.
Exactly. We're going to have to talk with Greg about that one. But she goes on to say, there was one night not long ago where I fell asleep early while laying down, and Greg was working to get the kids in their pajamas. The girls are, of course, running around like crazy people and jump in the bed with me. About 5 minutes later, I hear Greg yelling, and he storms into the bedroom swinging his shirt around. Still not quite sure why his shirt came off in the first place, and he's crabby and yelling and looking like a crazy man. He had lost his marbles that night. We laugh about it now, and the girls laughed at him then. Yep, I can attest. I've been there some nights with the kids trying to get them to bed and not wanting to go, and it's just like go to bed because I'm exhausted. And
is that what I have to look forward to? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yep.
When does that kick in? Like, what age would that kick in? Just so I'm ready. Okay.
3.
All right. Well, I got a little bit of time.
Terrible 2s, but it's more terrible 3s.
Oh, that's how they get you.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, I've been there down that road. I mean, I haven't had my shirt off. Like
the funny thing is, I could see him doing that too.
Yeah,
like clear as day. It's in my head right now.
Exactly.
All right. Last one from Ashley. She said, last summer we took the girls on a road trip to Michigan. The girls were great by not having consistent schedules, naps, or sometimes dinner. Greg was getting very irritated and overwhelmed with them, and I could tell he was getting more frustrated as the days went on. At the end of the trip, I finally asked him what his deal was, and he said he thought the trip was going to be relaxing, and it wasn't. I had to laugh at him or anyone thinking that traveling with a 2 and 4-year-old would be a relaxing trip. And our kids are actually amazing. We're actually amazing on the trip because sometimes they can be a needy ball of love. All right.
I can see that.
Here's the next one's from Erica. You want to take this one from your sister?
Sure.
Okay.
Greg is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. One of the "we'll give you his shirt off the back" types. I know we had a rocky start because I'm a bitch. Yes. And Greg has never been anything but lovely. But I am so happy he decided to take one for the team and marry my sister. Yes, we all are.
Yes.
And he has been an amazing addition to our family and such a great dad to his 2 little girls. I can't imagine our life without him in it. Love you, Greg. Happy birthday, bro.
Yeah, I would say Erica is definitely very
stubborn.
Well, yes, that's been well documented on this podcast, I think. But also, like, just she has to has to give everybody like an ocular pat down, kind of has to run them through the course a little bit before she accepts them, I guess. Would you say that maybe?
Yeah. That's a very good, nice way to put it.
Nice way of putting it.
Her ocular pat downs are a lot stronger than Max, that's for sure.
I honestly don't know how I've made it this long. I'm surprised she hasn't kicked me to the curb, but yeah, I don't know. There's nothing really else to say about that one. Vince, our father-in-law, Vinny's dad, wrote in, said he would give you a shirt off his back. Greg looks like a very gruff man you wouldn't want to approach, but he's actually a really big teddy bear. When I was talking to your dad today, Vinny, he mentioned that at our wedding, mine and Erica's wedding, Greg didn't really know that many people or know anybody because he had just started dating Ashley at the time. Mm-hmm. And he apparently ended up with your family friends, Steve and Kara, and he ended up learning all about golf from Steve on that day. So I didn't know Steve was a big golfer, but apparently he imparted everything to Greg. And then same thing as I mentioned, helping with the flood. I know your dad was here for that. And Greg kind of told us what to do, and then he let us take care of it. And I think he said he went upstairs and popped a beer while we were working down here. So that's that. I mean, I think that's the common thread, right? Greg is just, he'd give you his shirt off his back if you needed it. And, you just say the word and he'll come running, whether it's the Mustang or the truck now. But, I guess the last 2 stories, I made sure I almost forgot these until you mentioned something earlier. We got the Rogue One story and the Last Jedi story. So I don't know, which one should we start with here? And then we'll wrap up.
Probably the Last Jedi. Let's end on a good story.
On a positive note. All right. So we've been lucky enough when Force Awakens came out, when Rogue One came out, and when Last Jedi came out, the 3 of us, all 3 brother-in-laws, we were able to get together and see it. It's so amazing that it's so great to me that we're all Star Wars fans, because I can totally like geek out, and some of our text chains about Boba Fett theories and things like that get really good. So we were, I think we saw Force Awakens the one year for Christmas, and we're like, okay, this has potential. And then we saw Last Jedi, and I think I was the one that immediately hated it. I don't remember, Vinny, were you like even keel about it? I don't remember.
I liked it. I was feeling more positive about it than you guys were. Yeah.
And Greg, I don't remember. Was Greg just kind of positive? I know I was the one that was just so angry.
He didn't know what he
saw.
Yeah.
And I just remember the movie ends, the lights go up in the theater, and I'm like, what did we just watch? Like that was awful. And I still do not like that. And I think it made me kind of like the original Force Awakens less too. Like, I don't think I would want to watch that anymore either. But I remember, we go to leave and we were all kind of dumbfounded by what the hell we just watched. And these people came up to us from the movie theater and they wanted us to fill out a survey, right? Was that it?
Yep. Yeah. They wanted us to, take a survey
about the movie. And I went to stop and Greg just kind of put his hand up and goes, I don't know what I just watched. I need to go. And he just kept walking right past the people, totally blew right by them. And then we got in the car and we just tried to figure out like what we had just seen. And we were trying to figure out the good points of the movie. And I was kind of more dumbfounded, but needless to say, I think all of us are pretty much soured on that sequel trilogy now.
Yes.
But the best story, we went to go see Rogue One. I think that was another Christmas get together, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And I was that the one I vaguely remember us going to get coffee at like Dunkin' Donuts beforehand, maybe?
Because we went to go see the midnight showing.
The midnight showing of Rogue One, yeah. And I'd say maybe like top 3 Star Wars movie of all time for me. Like, I love that movie. And we really enjoyed it. But Greg was like a little kid in the theater. He was getting so excited. And then, spoiler, there's the scene at the end where Darth Vader shows up and he, you just hear the breathing and it's pitch black. And then the lightsaber ignites. Mm-hmm. And I just remember looking at Greg and I don't know, he was like pumping his fist. I don't even remember what he was doing.
He was flapping his hands like he was
like a toddler. Right. And he was just like, oh my God. And then we got in the car and he was going insane. He was so happy. We still talk about it. And I mean, we give him crap about it, but I mean, we were all thinking the same thing. It was like the perfect thing. But to see somebody get that excited and kind of go back to their childhood was just incredible. So unfortunately, I don't think I've seen a movie with him since that has done that. I don't know about you.
No. Well, no, then we saw The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
After that was the next one. Yeah. Then, I have not seen a movie since with him.
No, so. I saw the last Spider-Man with him, which we enjoyed, but he did not make the toddler clapping, pantomime.
Surprising when they had the Spider-Man.
I want to see he might have thrown a fist up. I don't remember, but yeah, no, he's an awesome guy. Greg, we love you. In the words of Dwight, it is your birthday, so we'll make a cake with a little chiclet on it, and that can be either you're sleeping under the table or an hour of TV. I think was that what they did for Kelly?
Exactly.
So I don't know. I got nothing left. Vinny, you got anything else for Greg?
No, I don't. Nope.
All right.
I think we said it all.
All right. Well, we'll figure this out. We'll either put this up Thursday or Friday. We also have our regularly scheduled episode of Baseball and Whatever. It's TBA or TBD at this point, whether or not Greg will be able to join us because he might have some snow plowing. Because if you're not from the Midwest, we got hammered with a blizzard today. At least Chicago did. I know Wisconsin didn't get anything, right, Benny?
Nope. Nothing.
You guys are lucky.
The Madison area, we didn't.
Madison area. Okay. So yeah, so we'll see about that. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with me and Vinny again for another episode. We'll talk baseball. I got plenty of Hawks stuff to mention after another. Oh my God, that organization is a joke. I need to take this jersey down and put something else in it because I'm so frustrated with that organization. But anyway, we'll talk that. We'll talk about Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. Sorry, not Matt Poles. Ryan Poles. And and then I think maybe we'll talk about Boba Fett. So if you're not caught up, get caught up on that because we're gonna dive deep into some spoilers there. But that's it. Thanks for listening. If you're on Twitter, wish Greg a happy birthday at gprobst15 and tell him that you enjoy his work and tell him how much you love his thumbnails because he is a very talented graphic designer now. We got to get him a graphic designer job. So that's it for Baseball and Whatever. We will see you for our regularly scheduled broadcast later this week. Take care, everybody.
Take care.